From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
This episode of News 8 Daily 8 is presented by Downtown Indy.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, December 2nd. It's going to be another nice December day, starting off really cold, but temps will climb like they did yesterday, topping out in the mid-40s. We'll see some sunshine. The clouds have already crept in, and they're going to stay that way through most of the day. The White House releases a dire assessment directed to all 50 states. The coronavirus task force writes, "We are in a very dangerous place due to the current extremely high COVID baseline and limited hospital capacity. A further post-Thanksgiving surge will compromise COVID patient care as well as medical care overall." According to the task force, the state's responses to mitigate the spread of the virus are still inadequate. The report calls on local health officials to circumvent policies. And the task force advises states to make it clear that if you are over 65 or have significant health conditions, to not go anywhere people could be unmasked. COVID-19 is spreading at record-setting rates. According to Johns Hopkins, the U.S. saw its highest number of deaths in a single day with 3,157. A surge in patients is causing hospitalizations to reach an all-time high. At last check, more than 100,200 people were in the hospital. That is the highest since the pandemic began. The CDC is advising Americans to stay home this holiday season or be prepared to get tested twice. The agency recommends if you travel to get tested 1 to 3 days before your trip and then again 3 to 5 days after. And hospitals in Indiana are preparing for the first doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. IU Health North in Carmel is converting into a clinic to administer the drug to healthcare and frontline workers. It's one of 3 local hospitals to do so. Hospital officials say they have enough space to keep as much of the state's supply necessary. Right now, they'll be able to do it without the help of outside storage facilities. The nursing executive who's leading the project for the region, Melissa Hicks, says the hospital has not been told how much of the vaccine it will get. Hicks says after healthcare workers, they'll move on to essential workers like police and finally the public.
The vaccine in its trial stages has proven to be very effective. It's effective in the most vulnerable age groups as well, which I think is so important. And for the safety and the health of the population of Indiana, I think that this is the next natural step.
After a patient is vaccinated, Hicks says they'll be held in a room with other patients between barriers for 15 minutes to make sure there are no reactions. They'll then have to come back in 21 days to get a second round. We're still waiting to learn which 2 other hospitals will have that same setup. And you may be wondering about the side effects and safety of a forthcoming vaccine. Some trial participants say it is no walk in the park. If you've ever gotten a flu shot, then had a sore arm or felt a little sick after, you wonder, will this COVID-19 vaccine be like that? Will it be better? Will it be worse? Doctors say you might have similar symptoms like that of a flu shot for about 24 to 48 hours. Here's Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Just because a vaccine is safe doesn't mean that there won't be potentially side effects. And they can really make you feel miserable for a couple days. Sore arm, feeling very tired and run down. That's your immune system really kicking into gear.
That's why doctors say people shouldn't be alarmed if they feel side effects. The 2 COVID-19 vaccine frontrunners for getting emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration are Pfizer and Moderna. Both use a new mRNA technology that gives our bodies instructions to make a little piece of the coronavirus and a spike in protein, which then triggers our immune system to make antibodies to fight the virus. These vaccines require 2 doses, one to prime the body and then another a few weeks later to boost the body's response. A participant in the Moderna trial says his arm was sore after the first dose and he definitely felt a little sick after the second dose.
That evening was rough. I mean, I developed a low-grade fever and fatigue and chills and all the stuff that's associated with that. So I was out for about a day. It's not pleasant, but it's definitely worth the risk of developing these side effects to make sure we can find an end to this pandemic.
Yazir Batalvi says he isn't sure if he received the actual vaccine or a placebo, but he guesses it was the real thing. The Operation Warp Speed chief scientist advisor says that around 10 to 15% of the people who got the COVID-19 vaccine developed quite noticeable side effects. But both the Pfizer and Moderna versions appear to be 95% effective. So doctors say these possible side effects shouldn't deter anyone from actually getting the vaccine. And 3 former presidents all say they're ready to get the vaccine. Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton all say they'll get the shot publicly and on camera if it helps ease the fears people may have. Each president has expressed a desire to help public health officials with vaccine campaigns. So far, former President Jimmy Carter hasn't weighed in, but given his age and recent medical problems, he would likely be in an early wave of recipients. And leaders say everyone getting a COVID-19 vaccine will be issued a vaccination card. The Department of Defense it has what it will look like on its website. The card will keep track of when and where you get your vaccine and when your next dose is due. We're also learning about the process from the Associate Director of the Immunization Action Coalition. Dr. Kelly Moore says vaccination clinics will report to a state immunization registry to keep track of vaccinations. Some places plan to offer a text message system. If people provide their number, they can get a notification about their next dose. Every dose given will be reported to the CDC. The U.S. government has purchased an additional 650,000 doses of Lilly's antibody treatment. The treatment is one of 2 from Lilly that the FDA approved for emergency use. According to the company, more than half of the doses will be delivered this month. Delivery will last through next month, January 31st. So far, the U.S. government has purchased 950,000 doses. All Hamilton Southeastern students will stay virtual through at least January 15th. That's a change from the plan that had them returning to class next week. The district says it made the decision because coronavirus cases in Fishers are not slowing and there's still a substantial number of teacher and student absences. The school board plans to make another scheduling decision January 13th. Indiana health officials say the new CDC quarantine recommendations should help keep schools on track. The new guidance says you can end quarantine after 10 days without symptoms or after 7 days without symptoms and a negative test in days 5, 6, or 7. The health commissioner says the change will help schools and make it easier for people who can't work from home. We spoke with a former teacher about why the move will help.
I think the most difficult part is that you also are eliminating a teacher out of the classroom for 14 days in a lot of cases. So we've seen reports that schools had to shut down because they couldn't find the subs.
The CDC says a 14-day quarantine is still the safest option. The new guidelines offer alternatives for people who cannot do that. Election officials in Georgia may certify election results by tomorrow afternoon following a second recount. Counties worked up to last night's midnight deadline to finish. Fulton is the only county to announce it got the work done. Georgia's Secretary of State says that he's not seen a substantial change in results. The counts still show President-elect Joe Biden winning Georgia. A former Notre Dame football coach lands a high honor. Today, President Trump will present Lou Holtz the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's considered the country's highest civilian honor. Holtz spent 45 years coaching college and pro football, 34 of them as a head coach, most notably 11 years with Notre Dame. His team won the 1988 national championship. President Trump is also recognizing Holtz for his work as a philanthropist and author. The state's highway department is looking to hire more seasonal workers in Indianapolis. INDOT is hosting a job fair today. You can register ahead of time or just walk into the Indianapolis hub on Brookville Road. The fair runs from 9 to 3. INDOT says seasonal positions will run through March and start at $16 an hour. There's also a $250 sign-on bonus and a $500 retention bonus. All right, now to business headlines. Discovery Plus will launch next month for $5 and be free for a year to some Verizon users. The streaming service will bring together Discovery Channel, OWN, Animal Planet, ID, A&E, the Food Network, TLC, HGTV, and other networks from Discover's portfolio when it launches January 4th. New and existing Verizon customers on a Play More or Get More Unlimited plan will be able to stream Discovery Plus for a year at no charge. UPS reportedly told its drivers on Cyber Monday to stop picking up packages at some of the largest retailers in the U.S. The Wall Street Journal reports the shipping company halted package pickups for Nike, Gap, Macy's, LL Bean, Hot Topic, and Newegg. UPS and other delivery companies are putting limits on deliveries as online shopping is expected to put a big strain on their networks this year. Worker burnout is on the rise. Robert Half reports 34% of workers are more burned out on the job compared to a year ago. 32% of employees said they plan to look for a new job. Of those, 48% said more money would convince them to stay. In Indianapolis, Robert Half says 46% of workers are experiencing burnout. And new weekly jobless claims likely held virtually unchanged last week from the prior week as states reimposed stay-in-place restrictions throughout November amid a resurgence in COVID-19 cases. Economists expect 775,000 jobless claims filed. New jobless claims began rising again in mid-November after a month's worth of improvements as the unchecked spread of the virus spurred a wave of renewed lockdowns in many states. And Upstream, a digital networking platform that launched last month, is tweaking its software in order to help companies arrange holiday events for workers who, in some cases, may not have seen each other since March. The new holiday mixer feature lets employees gather in an audio-only waiting room, complete with festive backgrounds and holiday music. And finally to sports now. When the Colts take the field at NRG Stadium Sunday in Texas, you'll want to look at their feet. It's part of the NFL's My Cleats, My Cause campaign, where players pick a charity to support and then wear customized cleats to represent their cause. The Colts are giving us a peek at what each player will wear, starting with Wish TV player analyst Darius Leonard. He chose the Lupus Foundation of America. His cleats are purple with lupus written in large print and a portrait of a woman. If we're lucky, we could see Nyheim Hines flip in the end zone with green cleats on. He's supporting the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And T.Y. Hilton went local with his charity choice, the Boys and Girls Club of Zionsville. His cleats are all black with green laces. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This episode of News 8 Daily 8 is presented by Downtown Indy.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.